There is no one better to share some of these incredible stories than the Chief Program Officer of Community Programs, Jen Stout.
How are you?
I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here too. It's been a crazy couple of months. So one of the programs that I lead here at Thompson is foster care division, and so I am incredibly passionate about foster care. And one of the reasons why is that it's a personal and professional mission for me. I have been a foster parent and an adoptive parent for about 15 years. And then I've been a social worker for over 30 years, working with children and families in multiple states. And so here at Thompson, I've had so many opportunities to work with children, see them from the day that they come to us, often broken, definitely abused, and then get them to the day that they become adopted and they get their forever family. And those are amazing days. Just actually, gosh, it's November 19th, so November 18th, or November 8th, excuse me, we had an amazing story. So we have a little girl. She was 2 years old, July 1st, 2021. We get her into custody. I get a phone call from one of our local DSSs. They have a 2-year-old little girl, only 12 pounds. Now, I don't know if you know the developmental style for little kids. 12 pounds at 2 years old is not the norm.
Not good.
This little girl was being severely neglected. She was eating dog food to stay alive. Her mom had stopped feeding her. She was feeding the dog because the local Humane Society was giving the mom dog food for the dog. And so the little girl was eating dog food. And when I heard those things, I knew that I needed an experienced foster parent, an experienced mom to help this little girl because she was going to have a hard road ahead. She really was. So brought her into custody, brought her to one of my foster parents in Marion, North Carolina. And from that point until November the 8th, every single day was dedicated to bringing her to multiple therapies: physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. So November 8th, I get a phone call in the mail. They received their adoption decree from the county. And so they decided to take that adoption decree, the foster mom, or actually adoptive mom now, and little Lucy, and they brought it to where the dad was working and brought it to him. And little girl hands it to him and she says, "Daddy, guess what? I'm all yours." And so he opens up the adoption decree, and of course it says that she's adopted. And he's a big rough tumble guy. Oh. And he started crying. And so it's been amazing to see this little girl who now can walk, because she could not walk when we got her at 2 years old, talking, eating. She's amazing. She's amazing. She is not fully caught up yet, but she is almost there. So she's very smart. She does come to my office and she knows exactly where my candy is. Doesn't matter. She knows exactly what drawer it is in. Yeah, those are just those stories that's when I wake up in the morning. I'm like, that's why I do this. This is why every day. And I can live on that story for a super long time because I was there when she came in and know how much love and compassion and attention that family gave to her to bring her to where she is today.
That's fabulous. So I'm going to ask you, since one of the things that we're trying to encourage are people to become foster parents. So I'm going to ask you, talk a little bit about what it means to be a foster parent, what that experience is like.
So to be a Thompson foster parent, we have 370 foster parents across the state of North Carolina. And I will tell you that it is life-changing. It is life-changing. To become a foster parent is not hard, because being a foster parent is not rocket science. It really isn't. You're talking about going to classes, to where we teach you how to work with kids who have trauma, who have gaps in having someone take care of them. I remember, because I'm also a foster parent, that I had a time that one of my foster kids, I was taking care of him because he was sick. He had a stomach virus. And I had all sorts of really cool stuff for him, like crackers and ginger ale. And I was taking care of him. And he looked at me, and this is a 16-year-old boy. And he said, is this what it feels like to have a mom to take care of you? But it's 16 years old, you know? And so when you experience those moments of kids who, you know, and everybody talks about teenagers are terrible, but you have that 16-year-old who looks at you, who's not feeling good, who easily could be miserable, and says to you something that absolutely fills your heart with, this is what it feels like to have a mom to take care of you. So it's amazing. So to become a foster parent, super easy. Fill out an application, you take some classes, there's a background check because of course we want to make sure our kids are safe. Go to a medical exam and you become a foster parent. So it's not hard at all. It's probably one of the more easier things. Filling out my stuff to get a mortgage was a lot harder, and we need foster parents of all ages, all socioeconomic, all locations. So when people say, oh, I'm single, I can't be a foster parent. Single parent. I'm a foster parent. I have 3 teenage boys that I have fostered to adopt. And so it's doable. It is 100% doable. And the best part about being a Thompson foster parent is that we surround you with a village. We have plenty of foster parents that can help other foster parents. We look for volunteers to help our foster parents. We contract or we work with other agencies that can help our foster parents with, a meal. Hey, it's our first time having this youth. All of a sudden, pizza's delivered to the house. And those are amazing moments. So not hard to become a foster parent. And again, I don't think there's tons of things that if I owned a DeLorean and I could go back in time that I would change. Being a foster parent is not one of them.
It's never too late to come into a child's life and walk alongside that child, is it?
Never. It is never too late. We have so many kids statewide that need someone to just simply walk next to them. I have witnessed kids who have come into custody at 17 and a half years old. When I turn 18, I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. I'm going to leave here. But experience for the first time being cared for. Experience for the first time somebody saying to them, you're so smart. You're the greatest kid I know. I really love when you do, that they stay. And that foster family becomes their family. I've seen so many kids move on to higher education, good jobs, just from one person being there for them. Just one. And so those are things that foster care brings people, and it brings children. And so I say to people all the time, if you think you're too busy, or you think your house is not big enough, or you don't make enough money, you're probably wrong. What I'll tell you is right is call us. Find out. We will talk you through, is this the best time for you to be doing this? Or if it's not the best time to do it full time, is it the best time to be a respite foster parent? And respite means that you provide foster care on a weekend for a foster family that maybe needs a break because they have to go out of town. Or during COVID, there was a big thing where foster parents would get sick. We need somebody to take care of the kids. And we had respite foster parents who were able to do those things. So I tell people that all the time. You may not be able to do it full time, but I bet you could do it once or twice a month. And so, although the exact same requirements, you'll need to take, classes. You still also need to pass a background check, but it's not a full-time thing. It's something where you're helping. And for a foster parent who maybe needs that break is amazing, and those are just things like that. So it's not hard to become a foster parent. It's not hard to open up your heart to a child who needs you, who really does.
How about there are so many volunteer opportunities that people in the community may not be aware of. What would you say to someone who came up to you and said, Jen, I don't know what I can do, but I want to do something. Where can I start?
So some of the ways that people can start, obviously they would, call us and we would find out what's their passion. What is their passion? Is it somebody who wants to mentor a kid? because they are. So I'm sorry, hold on. I'm trying to think of the word that I'm looking for. So we've had people who, let's say, are in a certain industry. They're a carpenter, they're an electrician, they're a plumber, come to us and say, hey, I would love to mentor a kid who maybe has never had experience in doing something like that. So those are things that we would want to match somebody up like that with one of our foster kids, and not necessarily a boy, because girls should have knowledge like with that too. Or I'm a chef and I would love to teach a child how to be able to make a meal, how to form a meal for themselves, or some of our teachers being able to help kids. So those are some things that people could do with mentoring. There's other things that we're constantly having events that we need volunteers for, but I will say a big thing that we always need is the opportunity to serve our families that we currently have. So whether that's being available to do a meal train. So let's say, so this was an example during Western North Carolina during the hurricane. I will tell you that our foster parents and volunteers from across the state inundated us with requests to be able to help our Western North Carolina families. So that looked like meals, that looked like taking people's laundry in and doing it and then returning it. That's community, that's volunteers without asking for anything in return. Now, thankfully, the hurricane is over. We're still helping people, making sure that they have internet. We just helped our families with Starlink, which is an internet connection, and then with also a subscription so that they can stay connected to telehealth, and also to teletherapy, both for themselves and for the children. So even sometimes, I know it's not a volunteer opportunity, and somebody may not be able to do a volunteer opportunity, but getting a gift card to Walmart, Pizza Hut, Chick-fil-A, teenagers love Chick-fil-A, help tremendously when we have children that come into custody, especially like Walmart, Target. They have nothing, or the clothes that they have don't fit them. We have kids who come in, they have holes in their shoes. They have duct tape holding their shoes together. And being able to go to the store and say to a kid, pick out the shoes that you want. And I've actually experienced kids who will say, I'm going to pick this shoe. And I'm like, sweetie, that shoe doesn't fit you. It's way too big. Yeah, but when I grow into it in a year, then I can still have these shoes, and I don't have to worry about, I won't have shoes that will fit me next year. And how heartbreaking is that? Here we are in America that a child is saying, I'll just get shoes that don't fit me today, but that I can still, I can stuff something in them, and then I can still wear them next year when I fit into them. We're like, no, we'll get you some shoes next year. You pick out shoes that fit you. Let's pick out some clothes that fit you. And let's get you a backpack. And I've had kids, this backpack's for me. I get to keep this backpack. And, when you have your own children and you're like going to the store and you're buying them these, and they're like, I like this one because it's purple. And I like,
Yeah.
and these kids are saying, this is mine. Or, we had a sibling group of 4 children that came into custody, that the 14-year-old boy, for the very first time, he had 3 younger sisters. He got his own room for the first time in his whole life. And, the foster parents, brand new foster parents, they, had a big house and they really wanted to be able to open it up to children. And so the day after they first got licensed, these 4 kids came into custody. So they got them and they invited him, into his room and showed him his room. And I just happened to be there. So I know this story to be true. And he very deliberately walked up to his bed and lifted up the comforter that was on the bed. And then he looked at them and he said, these sheets are clean. And they said, well, yeah, we just got them. And then we washed them and we put them on the bed. And he put the comforter back down and he said, I've never had clean sheets before. And so they just like looked at him, and then he started crying. So here's this teenager crying over clean sheets. So, and also the fact that he got his own space. He said, who am I sharing this bed with? And they said, no one. This is your room. He said, well, it's my room, but who's sleeping in the bed with me? Which one of my sisters is going to have to sleep in here? And they said, no, nobody, it's just you. You're the only one sleeping here. And it was something he had never experienced before. Not only having his own space, having his own bed, 14 years old. So it's, again, crying over clean sheets. And we think about our own children where we're like, please take your sheets off your bed so I can wash them. Please use a clean towel when you take a shower. And this child was crying over the fact that he had it for the very first time. I have another kid, little kid, and when I say little, he was 7. The foster parents were teaching him how to cut his meat, how to cut his chicken with a butter knife. So we were safe. It was a safety knife, and he's cutting his chicken, and he cut it in half and moved it over to the side of the plate. And the foster mom said, "Oh, are you not hungry?" And he said, "No, I am hungry, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow so that I can eat tomorrow too." And so the foster mom said, "Sweetie, you're going to eat tomorrow." And so of course later she called me crying, and I don't, how do I make sure that he knows that he's going to eat? And so we developed a system where she printed a menu every single week, and they had menu discussions about what they were going to eat, so that he knew that he was going to eat. Not necessarily like we're going to have buffalo chicken versus roasted chicken, but just that he was going to eat.
That there would be a meal for that child.
So
it's so powerful when you think about your own life and problems in comparison to how vast the need is. And this is such a generous community that I think when people know, they respond. So what is the one thing that you wish you could tell everyone in North Carolina, and especially right here, about Thompson and the work that you do?
Is it just one thing? Can I say like 8 things? Is that okay? So I've been here for 7 years, and we went from having 27 foster homes to having 370 foster homes. And we've had more, but just people stop being foster parents often because they adopt. Maybe they don't have enough bedrooms. So the one thing that I think we do is we provide really good customer service and really good advocacy for our parents and for our children. And that's why people come to be foster parents for us. And because when things happen, and things are always going to happen, this is child welfare, families know they're supported. Families know that we're going to be there. We're going to walk with them. As they're changing that child's life, we're walking right next to them. We're literally one phone call away from them. And it's not just the worker. So it isn't just about, oh, well, the social worker that works with them. I was actually doing something and my phone rang, and it was one of my foster parents. And I said, "Hey, Cheryl, how is everything okay?" She said, "Oh, no, everything's fine. I'm just with a group of other foster parents from another agency, and I wanted to show them that the chief was going to answer the phone when I called." And it's not that she has buying power. She's not. She's a regular person.
Yeah.
Regular person. But that I answered the phone and said, "Is everything okay? Do you, how's it going? Is everything, that was huge." So she was with a group about 5 or 6 other foster parents from another agency. They've all come over to Thompson and are now Thompson foster parents because in that experiment that she did, calling me in the middle of the day, they tried to call the person who should have responded to them, who didn't pick up the phone. So when the boss picks up the phone, that looks and feels different.
So from every corner of the organization at Thompson, there is such a level of personal care and attention for these families, these parents, and these children.
Every day. When I talk to, here's the thing. When I talk to the maintenance man, and he's like, "Hey, I just did this, or I repaired this, or I was talking to a foster parent and she locked her keys in her car and I helped her get her door open." That was the maintenance guy. When our comptroller says, "Hey, Jen, I saw this in the news and I just thought of you," and every day everybody's focus is, what are we doing for the children? What are we doing for the families? it does. Working for Thompson is not for everybody. It's not. It's advanced stewardship. It just is. If you don't feel the mission and vision of how we work with children and families, you should work someplace else, because that's what we do here. We are changing lives every day, every single day. And it's not a tagline. It's not a something just for social media. It is something that every day I'm getting stories of, um, you know, Susie just did this, or for the first time, this actually just happened last week. I have a 16-year-old boy. No one knew he couldn't read. 16 years old, could not read.
He had just been passed through and
Just
passed
moved.
through.
This is foster mom figured it out, but without embarrassing him, without making a big deal about it. She said, "We're going to get you a tutor. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out, and you're going to learn to read." And she started with silly things, like we're just going to what's this? What's this? And so he's reading. Now, is he reading on a 16-year-old level? Of course not. This is just a couple of months of work. But the fact that he now is reading, and that foster mom, he's so excited that he can read. His goal is to read the Harry Potter series, to get to the place where he can do that. That's advanced stewardship, because she could have passed that on to somebody else. She could have said, this is somebody else's responsibility. I didn't do this. We're going to have to get to, no, we're going to figure this out. You and I'm going to help you. I'm going to find all these things. And those are the foster parents that we work with, that we support, that she knew that we would support. She's like, hey, can I get some reading materials? Heck yeah, Amazon delivers. Hold on, let's get that to your house. That's what we're talking about. Those are the foster parents.
It's such a faith in what's possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every day.
Good stuff. But
Yeah.
Jen, I have to really defer to you. What have you not shared that you really want to share?
I think just that we desperately need foster parents. Even though we have 370 foster parents, there's 11,000 children in foster care today. And of those 11,000, I think it's 5,500 of them are waiting for forever families. Because maybe the foster family is unable, for whatever reason, to adopt them. We need foster families. And even if you think, I don't know if I could really do this, how am I going to give them back? That we're not talking about giving them back. We're talking about taking them in. So let's worry about letting them go for later. We need people to take them in. That's the critical thing. We have children who are sleeping on couches just like this. So you and I are sitting here talking, and we're going to get up and leave. A child in a Department of Social Services in a DSS office sleeps on a couch just like this. They have no place to shower. They're eating out of, they bring them to, fast food. They're brushing their teeth in the public toilet, in the public restroom. That is not a place that a child should be living. We need people to open up their homes to foster children, and to be open to not just the babies, because everybody loves a baby. Everybody wants to take in a baby. We get babies. We do. We need people who are willing to open up their homes to our school-age kids, to our teenagers. So I'm just going to share one last story, and this is about my own child. My 17-year-old at Father's Day wrote a Father's Day card to my father, to his grandfather, and this is what he wrote. Dear Poppy, you are the best Poppy a kid could ever ask for. I know I am not your biological grandson, but you treat me like I am. Thank you for everything that you do for me and for my brothers. I love you. Now, my dad is a rough and tough former Navy Italian Sicilian. He was crying. He has never been more moved than by a 17-year-old boy telling him, thank you for treating me like I'm yours. So that's what we need from people, is for them to become foster parents and treat children like they're their own, even though they're not.
I just don't know how you improve on that.
Right? Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
You're good? Right there? Okay. That's a true story. Like I walked over, my dad was crying, and I was like, and I looked at, Jose, who was super busy all of a sudden, like he was, he didn't want my, and I was like, what? And I read it, and I was just like, oh my God. And my dad was like, I'm going to keep this forever. And I was like, okay. So, but yeah, are you good?
We have enough to probably cut 3 or more.
It's like 30 minutes right now. So.
Yeah,
we're good. All right.
3 or more videos. I loved what you just said. We need people to.
Okay.
Then will be good.
Okay.
What do you need to do?
Like be like, hey, come to Thompson, something like that. Call to action and all that stuff. So.
Okay.
Well, that's what we did outside by the sign.
That's
right. We did that.
But I can do. We can do one here together, and then because you're going to have more than one video.
Yeah. Well, honestly, this is enough for like probably 10. So.
Okay. Great. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But
okay.
if we do a closer here, maybe we can have a little more variety and all that.
Okay.
Stuff. So, yeah.
All right. So you're gonna do that.
I'll talk, and you'll get the last word.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. There's just no other way to tell the story than that. Is there room in your heart and in your home to love a child as though that child was your own?
We need people every day, and Thompson walks alongside our families, and we help them every step of the way to become a foster family.
Changing lives changes everything.